This episode of Mod Rules brought to you by the Dangly Boys Best of compilation. Dangly Boys is a top competitive 40k podcast, bringing you such genius tactical advice as... And they're not just tactics, they bring you such humorous anecdotes such as... And that's not even their funniest stuff. Remember that time Seth told this funny story? Hold on, guys. I only have one change of clothes. That's too funny. Dangly Boys, bringing you such great advice, such as... Shit, I don't know, take shock attack guns or something. Maybe they'll fix it sometime. Who knows? And after way too many attempts at that startup before realizing I didn't have to push more than two buttons, we are here live on location at MJ's Cards and Comics out in the Valley. This is John, joined as always by
Dave
and Danny.
And today, in a special episode, we've organized a team tournament. So we've invited all our teammates along. We're going to have like practice-friendly games against each other, and we're going to record sort of throughout the day. So this is in our pre-time. Everyone's kind of filing in, getting ready to start. And we're just kind of talk to our opponents, talk about how our games went, and kind of do like an in-time kind of reenactment of how the games go. Danny, what are you bringing today?
So I'm going to give my Chaos list one more shot. I'm running kind of a carbon copy of Austin Wingfield / Jeff Robinson's Chaos list. So I'm going to give that another whirl. So, yeah, I'm excited about that.
Beautiful. Dave?
I'm running the same list I ran in the last tournament. Drop pod guys, some executioners, Phobos chapter master, which thanks to errata will now be replaced by a regular captain instead of that. So
yeah, you kind of got boned over a little bit.
Oh, really? How come?
You lose your Phobos armor when you become a captain chapter master. Effectively, is what it says. You lose your denial bubble.
You lose the Signum thing.
Yeah, the 12-inch denial bubble. You lose it when you become a chapter master.
Huh, I thought it was just the infiltrators couldn't use his captain ability anymore. I'll read it again.
Yeah.
Also,
I think you can still have the deep strike denial. He did lose the other thing there, but we'll double check
maybe
that.
I misread it.
Well, hopefully, because I'm going to play it that way today, so I hope no one else could have read it that way.
Yeah.
I'm bringing Leviathan Dreadnoughts, Redemptor Dreadnoughts. If it has a gun with multiple shots, I have it. My Red Scorpions with Carbcon the Risen at the helm are here as an Ultramarine successor.
Ready to die to execute.
So I just want to make sure we understand this right. So
Okay,
the
yep.
Imperial Fist painted Marines that are Red Scorpions that are an Ultramarine that are Ultramarines. I'm just making sure we're all on the same page.
They're Ultramarine successors.
You know what? I'm perfectly okay with it. It flows with John's narrative, and I think it works great.
Oh,
and
whatever.
He should be totally happy with his paint job.
I
They're
will-
fully painted, and they look good on the table.
And I'm proud of him for that. Like they look great.
They are mostly painted. I'm excited. It was
They've been
mainly
mostly painted for like 5 years, though,
yeah,
so it's not like it's
mainly to take that shitty Ultramarine piece of relic war gear on
I will continue to give him
the
shit.
captain here. That as is your endeavor. But yeah, so I did Ultramarines mainly to take the relic where I get to pick a unit before the turn begins and reroll to wound against it. And then that's the thing. So we have about 9 people here. I think we're going to have about 10 people total, which is really good for
That's awesome.
A random...
Officially, technically, could be a real tournament if we
Technically,
wanted
it
to.
could be a real tournament if we wanted to. Thankfully, we're not real. We're just fake.
Yeah.
So-
Thankfully,
Just
we
like
don't,
the internet points.
we don't need to hold an invitational to get fake team points and score points.
Ooh, but we really should at some point. But yeah, that's about all I want to talk to you right now. We're going to go get the tournament started. We're going to play round 1, and then we will be right back.
Dude, I'm the best. I took first place at another tournament.
First off, stop with the thunder and lightning. You don't impress me. And second, let me check out the BCP rankings. And I don't see you on there.
What?
Your TO needs to download the Best Coast Pairings app and run events on it. After the event, the results are uploaded into BCP rankings, and the best part, it's easy and free.
But I play multiple game systems.
No big deal. The BCP app can be used for any game. A ton of events every weekend are using it, from major international tournaments to local stores. And now that it's available on Android devices, you're going to have some serious competition.
There can be only one.
BCP Rankings is a fun and exciting way to measure how you or your team stack up. No matter what you play, your score goes to an overall ranking, or compete to be the best in a game, a circuit, a region, or the world.
Download the app or visit www.bestcoastpairings.com for more info.
Best Coast Pairings.
Are you the best?
And we're back. I'm just going to cut you off halfway through. I'm with Matt Goodwin. He was my first round opponent. Though game was a very generous term to give our encounter. Matt, tell us a little bit about the list that you brought.
So I ran a Imperium soup list with a primary focus on knights.
Yes.
Because I'm that person.
I don't know what you mean by that.
So I brought 3 Crusaders.
Sure.
2 with battle cannons, 1 with a thermal lance, because I really like the thermal lance, and I think this game proved
I think
why.
they're really handy. Yeah, for sure. Like, I know a lot of people look at the Gatling cannon, they look at the battle, like that's kind of their main armament. But honestly, I think if you didn't have that Melta cannon, my Leviathans would have survived like a little bit longer than they did.
I agree. I think I would have lost a knight if not for that Melta cannon, just because it basically stopped an entire turn of shooting. It stopped your shooting a turn early.
Right.
I think everyone looks at the Gatling cannon, obviously, because it's reliable. Same with the battle cannon. I think when you already have 2 of those, I think having that thermal cannon just to throw out there as a wild card is really helpful.
No, absolutely. So you had your 3 knights,
Yes.
and then you had a Mechanicum detachment, or Mechanicus detachment.
Yes,
Getting
I
my
had-
30Ks confused.
I had my Rusty 17 of
Love it.
15 Rangers and 2 Tech Priests just for 5 command points and randomly throwing a wound back on a knight, which actually helped us in this game. 'Cause
Yeah.
I got brought down to 12 and then managed to go back up to 13, putting me back in my top bracket.
Damn bracketing.
Without spending a command point, which is great. And then I also had a Cadian battalion, which was Emperor's Wrath Artillery Company with 2 Basilisks in it.
Which did some work as well.
Yeah, I think they took off the last wounds, I think on 3 of your dreadnoughts.
Yeah, they did. Just because like you were able to shoot twice with some of them, like being able to choose, like roll 2 dice and choose your shots was super helpful as well. So tail of the game, really, we were playing ITC Mission 4. So I chose to set up my entire army first. I want to say that was a mistake on my part. I should have let you set up first and then kind of position my little murder blob accordingly. Because my little murder blob of dreadnoughts is very scary, but it's also very short ranged.
Yes.
So that was kind of mistake 1 on my part. And there was many. So kind of I deployed my little murder ball. And we're up here in Alaska, rather than lower 48, we play in heavily terrain tables.
Yes.
And this was no exception. There was a lot of terrain here, and you did a great deployment and used that to your advantage. Tell me about your deployment.
So assuming I was going to be going second in this type of deployment, I did my best to hide everything I could. So I think I got my thermal lance knight completely obstructed, and my other 2 knights were either mostly covered, so they weren't going to get a lot of good shots off them, or my warlord knight was so far back that I think only your autocannons were even in range.
Who could see them?
Right, and then my basilisks were also able to completely hide behind a building. So for the most part, I was completely safe for that turn 1, except to maybe losing a couple wounds here and there, which not super worried about.
So for secondaries, I chose old school. I chose Titan Slayer. And I chose Recon. And the Recon for me is a holdover on every other army I have being able to easily score Recon. And then what happened, because I had Titan Slayer and like your Warlord was just like a wealth of points over there, you separated your list in a way where you had like the big fat fancy target over here and the rest of your army like other side of the table. So quickly right away I had to be like, well, shit. If I go after this guy, then I'm going to be pincered around by the rest of your army and stuck in a little night trap. So I kind of had to make that decision early on to go after your guys. But they were so far back that I'm like, I had to spend my first turn sprinting, which is not what you want to do with a dreadnought list.
Right, I believe you had to advance.
Yeah, I had to
every
advance
dreadnought.
every dreadnought turn 1 to kind of get it into range, which was like genius. And at the same time, I'm like, oh, fuck, okay. And then looking at my secondaries, I'm like, Recon. Yeah, no, this does not work for that. Tell me about your secondaries. Why did you pick the ones you did?
So I took Big Game Hunter for the obvious reasons of, I think you have 8 dreadnoughts, 7 dreadnoughts.
Some 1, 2, 3, 4, 6. 6. I'm not an insane man. Yeah.
Okay. So I took Big Game Hunter for that. I took Old School just because I was very confident I'm fast enough with the Knights. I can get Line Breaker. I was confident with Last Strike, First Strike. Slay the Warlord is the only one where I really have to be doing well to get it. But generally, I can move in a way to make that happen. And then I took Engineers, actually.
Yeah, that was surprising. I mean, I see why. I mean, Rusty 17 is a great use for that because you have these little sort of command point battery battalions, and using these 5 guys who I'm not going to be paying attention to because you have so much coming into my face.
Right.
And so much shooting at me.
I can just park them in the back line. It's a 5-man squad. It's 35 points, so I don't care if it doesn't really do anything in the game.
Right.
They're there for the CP at the initial point, holding objectives, and with Graya, I can deny psychic powers with them for a stratagem.
Perfect.
So
going into the game, kind of looking at my list, what was your strategy kind of off the bat there?
So like you said before, you've got this like murder ball of dreadnoughts and whatnot. Basically, my whole list comes around, can I crack that before it really gets an optimal range?
Right.
Which I think I did pretty well with.
You did really, spoilers, it was 35-6 in Matt's favor.
Yes. Actually, I thought about it. You actually got 2 more points. We didn't mark your Titan Slayer points.
Oh, bam.
So it's
35-8. Oh, man. Let me go update this real quick while you're kind of explaining the rest here.
Yep. So what was I talking about?
Like your strategy going into the game.
Yes. So all your dreadnoughts, the Leviathans, the Redemptors, they're very deadly at about 30 inches and less, really right around 24 where those storm cannons come in. And I'm most effective at 36 inches.
Right.
So I figure my thought process was if I can crack the majority of the firepower before you enter that range, I can kind of, the game's on my terms for the whole time. Because that murder ball can't really separate from itself to target different things.
I mean, because it's so dependent on auras and everything right around it. Yeah.
With a Chapter Master and Lieutenant reroll, as soon as it separates, it becomes noticeably weaker, which is what I wanted. I wanted to try and force that decision.
Yes.
So, and I think towards the end it had to happen, but by that point, I don't think it was.
By that point, I was just going for kill points. Oh, I got kill one because I killed your dude as well. I forgot about that. Yeah. Yep. Okay. Cool. Yeah. Because by the end of it, I had to figure out kind of I have to break away. I have to start killing stuff. We had Hero Lieutenant, who tanked like half a knight's firepower.
Yeah, I shot him with the heavy stubbers and the battle cannon. I got 10 shots with the battle cannon, hit and wounded with 8 of them. Or 6 of them, excuse me.
Yes.
And saved just all of them.
Yeah.
He just did not care.
It was amazing dice rolls. I was very happy about that. So for my benefit here, how would you have played the game differently if you were me?
Unfortunately, I don't have a lot of experience with Dreadnought lists, so going off of that, I think being a little more aggressive turn 1 might have benefited you. I think you could have either been more aggressive turn 1, or because you might not have been able to get a whole lot in range. Maybe that turn 2, you kind of hopped out on the side of the ruins to try and start engaging me.
Right.
I think you could have played a little bit of a waiting game there, forcing me to come around to you.
Because you had to come. So
the way our terrain was set up, if I had tried to round that building in order to get to you, it would have put me within an easy charge range after a move. Yeah. Or easy range for your weapon. So then it becomes a waiting game of I can't score points until I come to you. And at the end of the day, you can afford that maybe until turn 3 or 4.
Right.
So that would be the only thing I would say.
Right, perfect. Well, I was going to say, is there anything you would do differently next time? I don't think there is. I think you played a really good game.
Yeah, I think that game was really solid for me.
You forgot Canticles a couple of times, but like I said, in the end, 35-9, as I've slowly grown points through the course of this discussion on it, it was a really good result. Like I said, I think it was well played. And yeah, you just completely countered everything I had by just kind of piecing up and be like, hey,
I see you've got dreadnoughts. I've got giant ones.
My robots are bigger. Hey, well, Matt, thank you so much. I'll let you go get some food now. And good luck with round 2.
Cool, thanks. You too.
Yeah, thanks, man. Terrible musical cutting because I shouldn't have started the sound effect after I talked to Matt, but we're back again. Hey. Danny is back with his first round opponent, Taylor, and they're going to talk over their game now while I go and eat Panda Express.
Oh, good luck. All right, so Taylor was playing Tau and I was playing my Chaos list. I think like Taylor literally showed up to this like last minute, so like his list was written for him, as I understand, while you were in the shower this morning, right?
Yeah, no, Nate wrote my list while I was showering and put it all together, and it was not the Talnar list I usually play, so it was extremely new to me.
Yeah, no, and totally understand. That's like, it's tough to get thrown into a scenario where you're expected to know all of your rules, and yet, like, it's hard.
This was maybe like my 8th or 9th official game of actually playing.
Of the actual game, as well as having a brand new list. So,
Yes.
like, all of those things are tough to understand.
Yeah.
So,
all models I didn't know. A lot of stuff I wasn't aware of. A lot of stuff that I kind of just got thrown into, which is fine.
yeah, sure. And, like, oops, no Taunar, like, as the list is tough to play, like, right off the bat like that, right?
Yeah, Taunar list is so bad, but I like it so much.
So, Taylor made, like, I would say, I think his deployment was interesting. Like, he put his drones in front of his army. Now, normally when you see Tau play, like, they'll put their drones behind their guys because, like, so think about this. Like, the Riptides can fly, right? So you can just fall back from combat and shoot people again. So, like, if you put the drones protecting you behind them, you can take all the big hits on all the big hits on the drones that you want to transfer away. Yeah. And then just, like, let the now granted, like, shielding them from assault is, like, not the most terrible thing either.
Yeah.
But you still get to overwatch guys. So I think that might have been a better deployment maybe.
Probably. My poorly thought out idea was that I was just going to stop you from reaching my army.
Oh, okay. My guys are really fast though, especially when they get to move twice.
I thought that I would have the wall of shield drones there. I was not aware that if I'm locked in combat, I can't shoot your
yes.
with anything. So if the drones were locked in combat, I didn't know I couldn't shoot stuff.
So on turn 2, I got my my Lord Discordant into the drones, right?
Yeah.
And so he did not fall back with him on his turn, which I think was a pretty big mistake. So like, but like a newbie mistake, right? Like you would make that, and then like you'll never make that mistake again, right?
No.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and since the drones can fly, they can actually move over my guys too. Mm-hmm. So that's something that they can also do, which is nice.
Drones have fly?
Yeah, drones have fly.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what makes them so good at like screening later game, like in late game stuff. So you can put them in front of stuff and be like, okay, well, you can surround me, but you're not going to lock me in combat.
Yeah, and like I said, my thought process was that I would just avoid getting in combat with my other things. Mm-hmm. So I didn't think that I had to fall back. Oh. So by the time I got to my shooting phase and I hadn't moved them, I was like, well, I'm just going to shoot this. It's like, no, you're not. And I was like, okay, yeah, no, fair. That is something that I have not dealt with yet.
Sure. And that one Lord Discordant is pretty badass. Like, he is a lot of... I was consistently had prescience on him, and he got to roll like 12 extra attacks every turn. And we were just dabbed on by other Taylor, which was nice. Thank you, Taylor. It's a super dab.
2 Taylors, both dabbing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Super. It's dab squared, if you will.
Dab squared, Taylor squared. No, and I'm used to having the Talnar, which can overshot with its heavies. It's heavies. It can shoot its heavy weaponry.
Yeah, so it can shoot its arm guns into combat.
Yeah.
Which is probably why you like thought that. Like so
Probably.
that's one of those things, if you play with something enough, you kind of form a habit. Mm-hmm. And like since that guy ignores the normal rules, like it's easy to make a habit that can like screw you over later on too. Yeah. So,
and to be fair, except for like the one scrimmage match I had with Nate at home with my my Space Wolves, that is all I've played is Taunar. So.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like of my 9 official matches, probably 8 of them have been at Taunar.
Okay. Well, good to know.
Yeah. So that was where my knowledge is based, which is obvious.
Sure. But I mean, I think your shooting was fine, and you didn't shoot at not the right stuff. Like Mortarion is even like surprisingly enough is actually worse in combat than one of those Lord Discordants potentially.
Then why was he such a big deal to kill?
No, that's what I'm saying. No, he's worse to fight against.
Oh,
like he does more damage potentially. Okay. Yeah. So you did the right thing.
Okay.
Yeah. No judgment there at all.
Yeah. No, I didn't know that you had such large, ginormous units of the demons.
Oh, the Plague Bearers.
Yeah.
Yeah, they last a long time, man. And yeah.
-2 to hit.
It's a thing.
Yeah, it is a thing.
It's like Eldar Flyers, man. Except they're just dudes on the ground. They're very stinky.
I think he ditched the Flyers. No, he's using them today.
Yeah, he's using some Flyers.
Yeah.
Fair enough. All right. Well,
I learned my lessons.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Well, I'm glad that we were able to talk about that, and yeah, I think next time you'll do even better.
Hopefully, ideally, I want to use this list more, especially if the Riptides and the other battle suits rather than the Taunar.
Oh yeah, for sure. I think it's a better list in general.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, all right. Well, thanks for the interview, man. We appreciate it.
Of course.
Hey, Joe, I'm back here. We have Aaron and Taylor. They just played a game against each other. Proverbial. Like perennial opponents, I guess.
Yeah.
Constantly first round matchups. We had We had Aaron's Dark Angels taking on Taylor's fragmented AdMech. Tell me about your game.
So they're fragmented because they were launched onto the floor today. That was unfortunate.
It's really a testament to the solidness of that termite drill.
It
How fucked up your tank is from it.
It pile drived a Scorpius and made it actually explode.
Dude, it's the absolute shell. It's like if someone was trying to make terrain out of a broken tank.
Yep. So I'm playing with that today, and that's exciting.
That is. Luckily, this friendly tournament allows shattered miniatures, like kind of across the field.
Very optimal.
You also lost like 6 hoplites in the process.
I'm missing 6 hoplites, and I'm missing 2 shoot priests. So I'm playing like 50 points down today.
And he still beat me. So.
Spoilers, yeah, with that humility. So Taylor, what did you run?
So I have 2 battalions. I have Call. I'm taking the Servitor Maniple. I have 18 Breachers. I have Call and the Manipulus in the HQ zone. And then 2 squads of 6, 1 squad of 5 Breachers with the Big Fist and the Arc Gun. And then I have 40 hoplites. Excuse me, I have 34 hoplites today.
You should have 40.
I should.
Yep.
And then I have 12 priests, 10, drill, and 3 Scorpiuses. And then I have 15 Gryan Rangers and 2 Gryan Engineers in another battalion.
Just to shut off my psychic powers.
Yeah, hey, 4+, I don't like that. Stop.
Yeah, that's done. That's done. And then, Aaron, for Dark Angels, what did you bring?
2 battalions. I'll just list them all, basically. 2 Smash Captains, Ezekiel, a Lieutenant that I had to borrow from a teammate because I lost that.
This is like the game of misplaced models.
An underpowered Intercessor unit because I misplaced 1 Intercessor.
Oh, yeah, it's fine.
2 5-man Intercessor units. 3 scout squads with like heavy bolters, sniper rifles. Really want to try Deathwing out today, so I got Deathwing Knights, I got Deathwing Terminators, and I got a Deathwing Ancient, and that was pretty dope.
So trying it or just making like half of your list Deathwing?
Pretty much is. Actually, 980 points on my list go into Deep Strike at the
Just a
start.
small smattering of Deathwing in there.
Perfectly
Yeah.
planned.
So then, Aaron, coming into this game, you're trying out these Deathwing. You have what is almost full complements of Primaris, like missing models aside. Knowing you're playing Taylor, looking at his list, what was kind of your game plan going in?
It was going to be difficult to reach. It was very difficult to get pick secondaries because it was going to be hard to reach his characters, and it was going to be hard to reach his tanks in the back. And Taylor's designed his list so that his secondaries it's really hard to pick from. My game plan...
Like, you can get them, for sure, but you got to basically table me.
Yeah, basically. So my game plan really was to try to keep the Cataphrons breachers as occupied as possible, especially since you weren't running the servitors today.
I'm not now. I usually do.
Yeah, I was trying to keep those as occupied as possible and try to eliminate those. Unfortunately, I had a squad of Inceptors deep strike in and get Ospec scanned.
Yeah, so,
Which apparently is an AdMech thing.
Which apparently is an AdMech thing.
yeah, so it turns out if you just roll like 6 5s to hit and then all wounds and then 3 3s for damage, it turns out pretty well.
Yeah, which brought my Plasma Inceptor squad down from 4 to 1.
Yeah, rough.
Which is a lot less plasma shots.
He didn't blow himself up, though.
Yeah,
He
that's
didn't blow
75% less plasma shots, mathematically.
Mathematically.
That's about a 200-point unit. You just boop.
2 CP, I don't like that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, my game plan was try to tie up the Cataphrons, but it was just really difficult to... I mean, it wasn't difficult to get to them, but it was difficult to get everything behind them. So
Yeah. And even if you tie them up, like, my whole list wants to fight you in melee.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
even if you're there, I'm strength 10 with AP on S1, D3 damage.
Oh, well.
Exactly.
So yeah, here I am.
Yeah.
And talk about your hoplites a little bit.
Yeah.
They all died.
Well, they did, but why? Tell them why, though.
I really love hoplite. Oh, yeah. Oh, man. Yeah. So he put like 18 saves in the first squad of hoplites, and I was like, all right, I have three ups. Oh, I failed 12. Interesting. The next squad. Well, you put 11 saves. I'm going to fail 8 of them. And then, yeah, so they didn't do anything. Normally they do. Normally they're big heroes who do all the cool things that I want them to do. But this time
Yeah.
Big heroes who absorbed all the bullets.
Yes, they absorbed all the bullets with their bodies, and thus the Messiah was praised.
So coming into this game, knowing that Aaron's running kind of this experimental list a little bit here, knowing that almost half of his army is going to be on Deep Strike, what was your plan going in for that?
Screen with the hoplites, because that's why they're in the list. They're super good. In retrospect, I should have screened on the first turn with Breachers and put the hoplites in the back, because the Breachers are T5 with 2+ save. So if you want to run a ton of biker shots into them, then fine, they'll be okay. And I can heal them even if they get hurt. So I should have done that, but I put the hoplites up front, so most of them died. So yeah, that was the idea of screen, and then just kind of hope Auspex scan went off, and then hope you didn't make your charge. You did make your charge, but I traded that unit of Breachers for all of your Terminators, because the priests in the drill coming up, and then paying 2 CP for Wrath of Mars, which is mortal wounds on 6s to wound.
Oh my god,
is
insane. It was insane.
So this is the first time I ever used this unit, by the way. So I roll the dice. I have 10 of them, so I roll 30 shots. I roll 8 6s. So
quality. So right away, it's just a straight fuck you.
So it's like, all right, that's pretty cool.
So that explodes 3 hits each 6.
Yeah, it's Tesla. And then I'm like, all right, cool. I rolled a wound. All right, that's 8 6s.
So that's 8 mortal wounds.
8 mortal wounds
onto a 10 wound Terminator unit,
and they all die. And then he rolls a bunch of ones, and they fall down.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. And then Melta shot did like 4 damage to a character, which is pretty funny.
I gotta say, as someone who's running right now a bunch of Leviathans, there is nothing more frustrating than failing 2-up saves.
Seriously.
Like consistently failing 2-up saves. It's just like, no. It's very irritating.
Please. I need you to not do this, but I did.
Even just the 3-up invulns, because now that I'm doing Deathwing and I've dedicated so much into Storm Shields, failing those 3-up invulns, it's like I've seen Wolfen players do this a lot. What's going on?
Why can't I do that?
Why can't I do this?
So then, Aaron, what was your highlight of the game?
I mean, first of all, my highlight was playing with my bro.
Oh my god, I love it so much.
Real answers. Yeah. No, wait. Yeah.
Real answers.
Oh, shit.
My highlight of the game was getting the Deathwing Knights into combat with the Cataphrons, along with the Deathwing Ancient, giving each knight 4 attacks each. Strength 8, AP 2, flat 3 damage, and then the Maul had 5 attacks. Or not the Maul. What is it called?
Mace.
The mace.
The flail, yeah.
Oh, the flail. That was stupid.
Which spills over damage. That was my highlight because that was big damage.
My highlight was very easily the jazz hand grenade.
Jazz hand grenade?
Yeah, they all popped out, gave you the jazz hands, and then
everything died. The brilliance of their little jazzy dance.
They're like, hey, we're here to give you some lightning.
Well, Aaron, welcome to the loser bracket with me, Taylor Gray, looking round 2 onwards.
I'm going to fight a bunch of knights. I'm going to cry.
That's going to be exciting. I'm going to let you guys go eat your food now. Thanks so much for coming on.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Man, like magic, we're back again, this time with Dave and his first round opponent, Adam.
Oh, man. This was disgusting.
A lot of firepower with the new Marines.
Just, I wish we could have been on the same side. That pretty much would have just stopped the devastation of Ball, the annihilation of.
Like, I think this was
everything.
like Ultramarine Gunline on Ultramarine Gunline violence.
Kind of, yeah. I mean, I had an edge with Iron Hands.
Oh, you were Iron Hands today?
Yeah.
Well, that explains something.
I've been running Iron Hands since the Codex came out, actually.
Ooh, but all the 1 week?
Yes. That's 2 tournaments, though, John.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
So, Adam, tell me about your list. You favor gun lines. It's kind of like your favorite style of play there. Tell me about your list with this new codex.
Yeah, so this list is mainly going newer with replacing Gilliman. I played for about 2 years. The entire time, he was the centerpiece of every list, and this is my first time bringing out Marnius Calgar. So it's basically just castling up with a bunch of 48-inch range, non-line-of-sight shooting. So there's 3 Whirlwind Scorpiuses, and then 3 of the new Invictus Dreadnoughts, and they get to reroll all hits and reroll 1s to wound, and then you get the Devastator Doctrine. So the Scorpiuses are AP -3.
Bullshit. They're bullshit, John.
Yeah, and they don't. And against the and with ITC and the walls, there's a lot more line of sight blocking. So the Scorpiuses are a lot of lists aren't really prepared for that much non-line of sight shooting.
That much powerful line of sight shooting.
Yeah, and Ultramarines, the Iron Hands have some really good stuff because it's all vehicles, so it would have been good. But I wanted to use the Relic Seal of Oath. It gives all your units reroll full wounds like Gilliman against 1 unit. So if I play against an Imperial Knight or something, I basically still have that old Gilliman bubble for 1 unit. And I also brought Cronus in the Scorpius, so you get the strat 2 CP to shoot again, so you can shoot basically up to like 18 shots, hitting on his 2-up with Cronus from a Scorpius. he repairs it, and then there's also a Thunderfire cannon with a Tech Marine who can repair. So there's a couple different ways to keep the list bumping.
But kind of your main thing here, sounds from like your list, is keep the bulk of it hidden.
Yeah.
Shoot a bunch of shit from far away, but then you also have some distractions, like you have like the aggressors that I saw like out there, and
yeah. So there's a couple cheap units that are disposable. They have good firepower for their cost, but it's mainly if someone's going to charge at you, you have something to throw in the way. So there's 4 aggressors, and then again, the Ultramarines have a strat to give a sergeant a relic, and you can make his Boltstorm Gauntlet mastercrafted. So you can have like 12 shots hit that are 2 damage each. So you have like a 30-point guy who can deal 24 damage.
So which one did you pick for this? Did the Power Fist or the Gauntlet shooting?
So this, I didn't use it because your list wasn't going to come towards me.
Hurtful.
So I didn't even.
I didn't have to use that extra relic against you.
If the list has close combat units that are going to come at me, I'll use it because they're just bubble wrap. But since you were going to outshoot me, I didn't even waste the CP on it.
I don't think I outshot you. I can tell you that.
If you went first, you would have.
Oh, no, if I had, yeah.
So it definitely was a possibility to be outshot.
So seeing Dave's list and kind of what he had set up, what was your strategy going into the game?
So I have the 3 Invictus Dreadnoughts. I infiltrated up, and I was just hoping to, blow up 2 tanks, 2 of his executioners with my shooting, and just multi-salt everything and just basically wrap it up turn 1, just like table this guy. But Iron Hands Overwatch on 5s, and then he had the Chapter Master strat, so his Overwatch was actually way more deadly than I had anticipated.
Very familiar with Dave's Repulsor Overwatch.
Yeah, so I actually lost 2 I killed 1 Executioner. He popped a strat. You can shoot a vehicle when it dies. He basically no-scoped a Dreadnought with that.
I was at one of your Scorpiuses.
Scorpius. And then the other 2 Dreadnoughts, he killed 1 in Overwatch and brought the other ones both down to 3 wounds, and 1 failed the charge and 1 made the charge. But he's at bottom bracket, so I'm trying to hit this Repulsor on 5s.
With no rerolls.
Yeah, and so I get 3 damage on the first. I spend like all my command points doing rerolls, and I do honor the chapter to fight again and deal 3 more damage. So I'm like trying to do everything I can, and these 3 Invictors that I thought were going to like just face roll.
Yeah,
they just sucked. They just did nothing.
So to be fair, you charged something that has massive Overwatch capabilities.
Yeah. That was my first time playing against the new Executioners, and definitely would have done it differently.
Yeah.
In hindsight.
Yeah, I mean, but against like somebody else, like not Tau, because that would have been just as bad. But against an Eldar list or something else, that you probably would have done very well. Getting in there.
If they're only hitting on 6s and they don't have like the Chapter Master, they're only rerolling 1s. With that Overwatch, you're looking. It's with Gilliman, all my autocannons wound like knights on 5s, but he lets you reroll everything, and you get a surprising amount of 5s.
Yeah.
So when you Overwatch on 5s and you have the Chapter Master rerolling everything, you get over 50% of your hits.
Oh, no, I know.
I definitely I would have been better off just shooting. Also, turn 1, I thought the Invictors were going to do more in close combat, so I shot one of the Scorpiuses at some troops, his snipers, and since the Invictors didn't finish the job, I should have just killed the Executioners and shooting. So definitely would play it differently.
They're nasty surprises. Yeah, the Executioners were not friendly at all to me. Dave, going into this is game 7 with this list now. Based on your math.
No, it's
sir.
7.
Your math.
Yeah.
What was your tactic going into this gun line?
So my true tactic going in was that I needed to go first. Whoever went first on this one was going to come out ahead. I thought. So, like Adam said, in turn 1, he blew up one of the repulsors, and I Vengeance of the Machine Spirit's 2 CP strat to shoot back at one of his Scorpiuses hadn't fired yet, and unfortunately, I didn't manage to kill it, which was brutal.
It was after the movement phase, though, so I couldn't repair it and it was down to the last bracket, so I was hitting on 5s for the rest of the shooting.
I mean,
phase.
it crippled it, but getting rid of it altogether would have been better. So,
yeah, I think it still did a couple wounds.
You did,
because the Chapter Master and Lieutenant still.
I'm definitely noticing the change of having to go with the only rerolling 1s as opposed to rerolling all wounds, because I had been playing them as Ultramarines and running them as a gun line like that. But switching to Iron Hands, I kind of enjoy playing them better as Iron Hands. I do wish they had something that gave them an ability to have full rerolls, but I don't have anything in that. Like you had that, you have your 1-use relic to basically doom that tank, which is why you killed that tank.
That tank I killed super easy. The other 2, I didn't finish them off until the bottom of turn 3. It took my entire army And they were already half dead after.
My red scorpions have that same relic for that same reason. Just pick one target.
Yeah, and it worked. It works great. But it's it's an Ultramarines. So, basically, it was depending on how the dice flow, this game is going to go one way or the other, and it ended up in a 13-19.
Yeah, it was pretty close. There was a few turns. I was getting score more on the objectives, and he had one that was pretty close that he lost track of. And had it been that, he probably would have got 3 more points, or I would have got 3 less points, and it would have been like a 1-point game.
Yeah. I foolishly placed an objective marker on the table that was the exact color as the piece of terrain it was on, and it was a little glowing. So I totally did not see it until like the end of 3 and went,
pro plays. It's like pro plays, kids. Let's have like neon colored objective markers in the future.
His list is very hard to choose secondaries against. I took Big Game Hunter because he had a Mortis Dreadnought and the 3 Relic Scorpiuses, which meant I had those that I could shoot. He also had just not enough to max out anything except for Kingslayer. So, yeah, it was very difficult to actually choose secondaries against him. And I mean, not that hard to choose against.
Complete accident, and I just brought as many autocannons as I could, and it just so happened that it's hard to choose secondaries.
Those suppressors, I think, were actually bigger stars than your Scorpiuses.
Yeah, so against your list where we're both just deploying in the open and the non-line of sight shooting didn't really matter for us, the suppressors have +1 strength, and the AP is -3 versus a Scorpius. So it's some pretty...
Well, and 2 damage each, same damage. So.
Yeah, same damage. So with the Devastator Doctrine, the suppressors are super high AP.
Yeah.
They're all-stars for sure.
They did mad work.
And then turn 4, do we get to 4?
Yeah.
I threw on the Tactical Doctrine.
Tactical Doctrine.
And the Scions of Gilliman, they got to move, and they don't have to have the -1 for shooting heavy weapons. And they move like 12 or 14 inches. So they're pretty handy. And they're only 90 points, so you can, if you don't need the full like Leaf Blower style Alpha Strike, I can save those guys and deep strike them anywhere for objectives. So they're either super good for just efficient autocannon shots, or they're my objective grabbers.
Yeah, they were considerably better than my snipers, who just whiffed regularly.
Yeah, he had 3 squads of snipers that couldn't kill 1 aggressor squad over the entire game.
No, they were just, and that was with direct line of fire, getting mortals on 6s and also getting D3 damage. I just killed 1 aggressor.
And snipers are like the best unit in the game until they're not.
Yeah.
So they're either the best unit of the game or they're the fucking worst. Yeah. Like the whole time. But yeah, Adam, we'll let you go get some food. Thank you so much for joining us here. And then we'll be back probably like right now, but you won't be able to hear because I'm just going to hit pause. All right, so we're going to wrap up round 1 here.
Oh, yeah.
We had some great interviews. We got to talk to Aaron and Taylor about their game. We talked to all of our opponents. We're about to move into round 2, which I'm very excited about. I'm going to be playing Taylor, the gentleman you played first round.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah, you're going to be moving on to play Joe.
I am playing Joe.
And his Chaos Knights.
Yeah, I'm ready to do some chaos on chaos, just creaming.
Lord Discordant action on some Chaos Knights. But yeah, we're going to be right back with some round 2 coverage.
If you're a true follower of chaos, enjoy killing Tau scum, fry devilfish for breakfast, drink the blood of fire warriors, collect the bones of Kroot fodder, desecrate the cockpits of mantas with demonic sigils, sing songs of chaotic praise and joy, when berserkers chain axe overwatching broadsides, helldrake baleflame shield drones into flying discs of spinning fire, and just all around bask in the path to glory, then the Shrine of Chaos podcast is a must-listen for you. I'm Mini Wargamer Dave from MiniWargaming.com, and I invite you to be a champion of chaos. Listen to the Shrine of Chaos podcast, wherever podcasts are downloadable. Thank you, Mob Rules, for allowing this message from the Eye of Terror.
You are welcome.
Yeah, Dave.
Yeah, we're about to jump into round 2 here. By the end of this tournament day today, I will find my mute button correctly before I start talking. It's a personal goal at this point. I'm pretty excited about it.
I have faith in you.
I have faith in me.
Not a lot, but I have some.
So I'm about to have some Dreadnought Blob versus Tau action. Danny's about to have some Chaos on Chaos fun. Dave, it's a long day for someone like Dave, and 2.5 hour game is just...
I mean, he was up at 4 a.m. to get to Golden Corral so that he could get the early bird breakfast special. and then he had to get home. It's cracking 2:30 or 3:30 here, so he's got to get there early for dinner.
Yeah, that dinner rush is just crazy at Golden Corral. And then also he's playing a gun line, so that's a lot of bending and moving of models.
I'm sure he has to move a lot of stuff.
Yeah, that's just crazy. So he has actually retired. He's left for the day. He's subbed in by Kevin, who plays for one of our local teams, Fancy Players Academy.
Yep, we have an alliance with that team, if you will.
They're a bunch of dicks, but they're like in an alliance with us. Kevin's an okay guy.
Yeah, Kevin's pretty cool, I guess.
Fuck that Eric guy. I'm sure we'll talk to him later.
He's a dick.
He's a dick. But yeah, we're going to get on to round 2, and then we'll be right back with just, I guess, more interviews and more talking to people in this very experimental mob rules.
Stay tuned.
And we're back after round 2. Ooh.
Man, what a round.
What a round. I played Taylor, your first round opponent.
Yep.
I ended up taking that 35-7 or something like that there.
Brutal.
Yeah, it's pretty tough.
35-8. So all that happened with that one is kind of like a new player thing where you don't quite focus fire when you should, and then not knowing some of your rules. Like he didn't Nova charge the Riptides. And then he deployed everything right along the front line to get close because he didn't want to have to move and shoot. But we were playing kind of Vanguard Strike. I deployed all my Leviathans like right on the front line. So by turn 1, and I used the stratagem to change right away into Tactical Doctrine so I could move and shoot without penalty because they're quote-unquote Ultramarines.
Oh, sure.
And yeah, so it was lots of fire and then focusing on Mortis Dreadnoughts and leaving the Leviathans alone was kind of the downfall because the Leviathans, like each turn, like turn 2, they deleted a unit of broadsides. Turn 2 to 3, they deleted a unit of broadsides. And like just whatever I pointed their guns at just melted away.
Just dies.
And just
They'll
dies.
do that.
And they'll do that. But yeah, we're joined here by Danny, of course, and his game 2 opponent, Joe. Joe,
Big Joe Peterson over
first
here.
time listener, first time caller, long time listener.
No, I don't listen to this podcast.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair.
That's probably for the best.
That's good.
Thank you.
But yeah, you guys were playing the kind of the top table here for round 2, I believe, or one of them, going both in 1-0 for round. I guess you can't really call that. But yeah, go into your game. Your kind of chaos on chaos ensemble.
So my entire strategy is always to roll more 6s than my opponent. And
You were very successful today.
oh yeah.
Solid tactics.
You just
It's a
call
solid play.
every die you're going to roll. Eventually, you're going to get it right.
Yeah.
Oh, it's going to explode and kill Armin. Okay, sure. Why not?
Yeah,
Oh.
for those who don't know, Joe has an irritating tactic of calling out dice before you roll them and like 70% of the time getting those dice right.
It was crazy. The last couple turns, he was calling it out pretty well.
I'm psychic.
Oh, okay. That makes a lot of sense.
Or warlock, I guess, would be the correct term.
Yeah.
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 A male witch.
Yeah, so tell
I'm
us
cool
about,
with being that.
Tell us about your list, Joe. What did you bring today?
So today I brought 3 Chaos Knight Despoilers with the Avenger Gatling Cannon and the Rapid Fire Battle Cannon, 2 Exalted Sorcerers and Armin in the Supreme Command, and then a battalion of Renegades and Heretics with the 2 Idiot Leaders. The whole strategy against Danny is to make sure his stuff does not touch my guys and try to kill him. Turn 2? No. Bottom of turn 1. One of you guys touched one of my knights.
And it died.
Yeah, he didn't even have to finish rolling all of the attacks for the Disco Lord. He did, God, what was it? Like
The first, so the first volley of attacks, like, because he gets 6 attacks with the Flawless Cloak, right? I rolled 4 extra, 4 of the extra attacks and hit with almost all of them with Demon. No, I hit with everything right off the bat with Demon Forged, and like, I did like 17 wounds to him because I had demonic strength, and like it just. So he failed all of them and just died. Well, all but like 3. So I think you failed 14, right? Yeah. Or 13. Yeah. Anyway, so that was
that's
pretty
like,
cool.
It's just like 39 damage or something, right?
Sure. Well, it was a lot. Yeah.
It's rookie numbers. You got to pump that damage up.
But then he got back up like a big jerk.
Inferno is my favorite. The ability just to tweak those guns and also not actually die.
Right. That's pretty good. It's really good.
Yeah.
It's really awesome. So what was your kind of your standout part of the game, the part of the game that you're going to remember from this?
The part of the game where I'm like, okay, I've almost got Danny cleared off. I just need to wipe out some Plague Bearers and some characters. And then it's
the plague bearers didn't go away.
No, they just stuck around.
Yeah.
So like the last 10 minutes of the round, I went over to the table and was watching you guys play. And I think in that time, I watched Danny take 3 morale tests for plague bearers, and he got past 2 of them by rolling ones.
The last 3 turns, I rolled 3 ones for the one squad.
He was turning his wizardry, like my own wizardry, against me. That's all it was.
My cursed dice were becoming a boon, even though I could roll a lot of 1s and 2s today. Like
it was never when you needed them to be 1s and 2s.
Except for this one instance where I had to take morale tests, and then I was like, oh, all day long, baby.
Yeah. Like long term, I knew I had to give up board control, so I didn't just immediately get ganked, and I wasn't able to take it back. I killed off all the big threats, but it took me too long to move back up into position, and I was too beat up by that point.
Yeah, like turn 3 when that Lord Discordant was kind of in the middle of your army.
Yeah.
And like you had to kind of back up to get out of his aura. I think you should have just gone with it.
Yeah.
And just said, all right, well, I hit on 4s or 5s or whatever. This is whatever. And then I'll charge him and kill him in combat.
Yeah. At that point, I was really, really spooked because I'm going, okay, I have, like 12 attacks. I'll be hitting on 4 or 5s against him because of the aura.
Right.
And then you have the 4 up, and I'm only wounding on 3s.
True,
and the big
that's
fear
true.
was that I'd get him down to 1 wound, and then he'll just teleport behind me and go, sorry, kid.
So, but it was a good game, even though I did display some poor sportsmanship, and I had to take a minute for myself to like remind myself that it is a dice game.
What happened?
Oh man, I just felt like I couldn't get past like every time I thought I did something good, like and like I comboed some stuff up to make it work out good. Like my dice were like, no, you can't do that, dude. That's not all. No, that's too clutch.
Yeah, so to set the tempo, first turn of the game, first thing I do, Danny's deployed his army perfectly, it's well spread out, I can't focus fire on any one guy. I'm like going through my head, okay, this guy's going to take like 2.5 knights, then maybe I'll swap onto Morty, and I have one of my knights fire at the Lord Discordant, his field commander.
Right.
And I fire off just the Avenger, and he's like, okay, 5 saves. He fells 4 of them, and just 12 damage right there.
Dead.
Sure.
Just dead.
Cool.
Just done.
And he's like, I'm like, well, I could re-roll one of these. And Joe's like, I still have my rapid fire battle cannon. I'm like, all right, he dies.
I love the Inferno boosted Avengers. They're just so good.
They're really good.
So what's your most memorable part from this game, Danny?
Rolling a bunch of 1s for my plague bears and then like just not dying. Like they kept getting down to like 3 or 4 guys and then coming back to like 10 plus.
Man, there's
real MVPs.
There's something beautiful about that. So when you go up against a list like Joe's, Danny, where you you have your plague bearers, you have your discordants, things like that. What's your tactics coming out the box going against knights and renegades?
If I can try and get a knight on the first turn, I will. Like in general, but otherwise, like Joe was saying, I want to take midboard and I want to like maintain control of the objectives, and I was able to do that like pretty much the entire game.
Yeah. It was a tremendous mistake on my part to move that knight forward to get shots on you. I had to move it outside of my screen.
Yeah.
And I should have just kept him back.
Yeah, I mean, you would have just, you lose the Avenger, but whatevs.
Yeah.
And so you, Joe, you're going up against Discordants, Mortarian, all this other kind of stuff here in Plague Bearers. What's your kind of opening tactics going in up against that?
Well, luckily we got Hammer and Anvil, right, for deployment, so Joe was able to deploy really far back.
Yeah, some deployments against a list like that, it's if I don't get first turn, he's going to hit my screens, they're going to be gone. I'll have 1 turn of shooting, and then I'm going to just flat out lose the game. When I have more time, because of the board deployment, to actually space out and stretch it out, like I just have to give up board control, kill what I can, and then try pushing back out at the end. It's basically castling.
Sure.
Perfect. Well, beautiful, guys. Thank you. We're going to go get round 3 started here in a couple minutes. Thank you for your time, Joe.
Yeah, my pleasure.
Danny,
Joe.
You're moving on to play Matt Goodwin, my first round opponent.
Ooh, okay.
So you're going to go up against a bunch of knights and a bunch of assholes.
Oh, yeah, knights.
I'd say good to be back on mob rules, but I know both ends are going to be bookended with just jokes about Eaton. Dave,
please contribute. Please contribute to joke about Ian.
He's not here to stop you.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Dave's mom is so old. Period.
Good.
Okay,
yeah, it's good. That works in solid.
That maintains the theme that we've maintained for the entirety of this podcast.
And then, Joe, you're moving on to play Aaron.
Oh, okay.
So you're going to be playing some dangles.
It's
pretty exciting.
He's already shit-talking.
He's already shit-talking.
He doesn't have hell blasters. I'll be good.
Yeah. That's the way to go. But yeah, we're going to take a break, and we'll be back with round 3.
Do you have a single wound? A standard bolt gun? Having trouble maintaining an acceptable Xenos kill count? Only barely over 2 meters tall? Maybe it's time to ask your lieutenant if the Rubicon Primaris is right for you. The Rubicon Primaris is a prescription process that helps you to update that tired look. You may notice an increase in your purging abilities within 2 to 4 hours. You may experience loss of life, additional organs, and a points increase. Do not take the Rubicon if you plan on fitting into rhinos, drop pods, or other traditional vehicles. The Rubicon Primaris is not intended for second founding chapters. The Rubicon Primaris is for use on genetically enhanced super soldiers over the age of 800 only. You are encouraged to report negative side effects to your company's apothecary. The Rubicon Primaris. Because sometimes plot armor is just not enough.
Hey, and we're back. And so this is the tournament done over. I just surprised my last round opponent, Taylor. Other Taylor. I played 2 Taylors today. It's true. I did. Oh, I have to make sure that Taylor can talk. Hey, how are you doing?
Is it me?
Yeah, it's you. There you go. I've unmuted you.
There you are.
So what a round 3. Danny, I believe you take the tournament through a heroic drop.
I don't know. I don't think it's a draw, but
no,
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it was a fun, friendly day. We had like a tournament, like I said, a tournament with just our team members participating. We got 10 people, which I think was like a really good turnout to come out
cool,
and kind
yeah.
of like
most everybody from our club.
For like a club, that's super legit.
That is super legit because we are a legit club. So, hey, Taylor, tell me about your game 3 against me.
Oh my god, it was versus you.
It was versus me. It was.
Oh my god.
Man, I loved the first 2 turns so much. Those were like my favorite turns of 40K.
All right, so it was one of those deployments where it was hammer and anvil, and then I set up my whole army, you set up your whole army, and then I go first unless you seize, and then you seized. So
Ouch.
Yes.
That was unfortunate. I lost a whole breacher squad, 2 other breachers, so I lost 8 breachers in the first turn, and all
Dang.
and then 20 hoplites as well. Yeah,
It was a very good
Did you
shooting
take
phase.
gangbusters?
Yes.
Oh, your specialty.
Yeah. Well, it worked out so well for Randall on my Nurglings. I'm like, I got to try this.
Fantastic.
But yeah, I maxed out gangbusters turn 1.
Hell yeah.
It was brutal. And then on my crackback, I killed a Leviathan through like sheer willpower, I think.
Okay, yeah, sure, that makes
Anger,
sense.
spite, and rage,
Right.
I think
I've
is the
seen-
more accurate thing.
I saw his face like after turn 1, and it was 90% rage. Yeah.
Yeah, that's all I can feel right now.
Yeah, it's a slow, festering rage.
I'm like at like 86% and slowly falling. It's fine.
Like in 14 hours or so, I'll be okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it'll be fine.
I'll stop being mad about it then.
Yeah, so killed Leviathan with the double gun with the double autocannons, which is, oh my god, it's brutal.
Yes.
That did big damage time. And then you killed, on your second turn, you killed another breacher squad. And
I
then
did.
I had 4 left at the end of that turn.
I think the reason, like, I've played one of the local players, Rob, who plays a lot of breachers, and I fucking hate breachers.
Against my list, it's super important to kill all of them.
Yeah.
Like as fast as you can.
Yeah, and like when I was playing like other Taylor earlier, and he was playing Tau, like turn 1, I massacred every single drone in his army, and I'm like, don't take it personally. I fucking hate drones.
As you should.
Yeah.
Everyone
I mean,
does.
everybody does, yeah.
Yeah, they're the worst.
Yeah, they're the worst. But yeah, your breachers were kind of wiped down.
They did the big die, but in my charge, so I killed Carib Colon down to like 6 wounds.
Yep.
And then 4 breachers charged him, did 4. They didn't die on the crackback because Carib Colon was like, negative.
I'm very stressed right now. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't swing properly. I swung with 5 attacks because of the awesome new shock assault rule. I missed with 4 of them, but I'm like, that's okay. I just need like a 2+ to wound. Oh no, that's a 1.
That's a 1. Hey, Lieutenant, are you close enough? No.
And Lieutenant is far away, like picking his nose,
Right.
looking like a Templar brethren from 30K.
It's okay. They died next turn. It was fine.
They did.
They did. They did the big die.
Yeah.
I think. I brought on my turn 2. I brought in my not my hoplites, my
Electro Priests.
Electro Priest squad, and they jumped out and they said, "Hey, Leviathan, fuck off," and they killed it.
To be fair, first
Brutal.
they were pumping up under the ground, and I'm like, oh, that's a Phobos captain. You can't be within 12 inches of him. And
Yeah.
You're like, fuck.
Yeah, I had to do some.
And then you rearranged over there, and I'm like, and I did like I'm an asshole when it comes to deep striking because I'm like, oh, you're within 9 inches of column there. It's like, fuck.
No, I just completely forgot that
Yeah.
the 12-inch guy existed. So I did some polite rearranging.
Pornography does not.
Oh,
They always remembered the 12-inch guy.
That makes sense.
Everybody does.
It's a dick joke. That's a dick joke.
I imagine they try to hire me most often.
We got to have more of those.
Yeah,
More dick
we really
jokes?
do got to pull it up. His past couple of episodes have been
50%
really,
more dick jokes.
our
Venus.
last couple of
Venus.
episodes have been really dry on dick jokes.
that's
We
all
we
I-
had like a Patreon episode we did after like we did a nice interview with Mini Wargaming Dave where it was more dick jokes, but that was limited to people who pay us.
Sure.
So
And,
that makes
Dave's,
sense. Yeah.
Dave's mom is, not dry on dick jokes.
Which
No.
Dave's mom?
No, our Dave,
Okay.
not Mini Wargaming Dave.
Oh, no, never.
no.
I would never say anything about his mother.
No, yeah.
Chaos Dave's mother is a saint.
Yeah, well, or a demon if you want
Yeah,
to follow
sure,
the
whatever.
flow.
Right, yeah, it's fine.
But yeah, and so then it continued.
It did.
The game.
It was there.
There was another Leviathan died, so now I'm Leviathan. I have one Leviathan at 2 wounds.
Yeah.
But he's essentially useless at this point. He is a grandfather interned in an angry casket.
He is very old.
I took
How
the
many mortals did you do to him?
Like 14.
Whoa.
so he did seven mortal wounds.
No, I did 14, and then you saved like 8 of them.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Because I cracked the stratagem, which gave you the 5 up.
Yeah.
against
Well, I'm
mortals.
like, I hope you did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Neat.
But then like the finger pokes were enough to
yeah, the
take
finger
him down.
pokes were enough. But then I turned around and
Crazy.
this game actually turned me around on Redemptor Dreadnoughts. Like I've been super down on them, but aside from a lack of an invuln,
They have what, like 18 heavy bolter shots?
they have heavy 12.
Heavy 12. Don't they have the underslung?
The underslung, the
can.
basic one you can, but I use the flamer.
Okay.
Because something I really like with the Leviathans is like I get super close to people, and then I use the flamers like I used on your hoplites. I use the
Right.
flamers to clear out the hoplites, and the guns kind of aimed at the units in the
Gotcha.
back. And then also when you charge, I like auto hitting things, so they have the flamers.
That makes sense.
But like this turn, like it did a lot of work for the
They do.
Redemptors, and in close combat, they're brutal. I think one did 17 wounds in
Yeah.
one round of combat to one of your tanks.
Absolutely obliterated it. Yeah, both the Redemptors, between the both of them, because I don't think anything else shot at the hoplites besides like some cone shots.
Yeah.
They killed like 40 hoplites.
Yeah.
So that's a lot of anti-infantry coming out of them. So you know what? I don't hate them. I don't really like them, but I don't really hate
They
them.
still need like a 5-up invuln, or even a 6-up invuln.
Sure, something.
Something just
Anything at
to
all.
make them survive to go along the table more.
And then, yeah, the rest of our turns were kind of like, can I kill your Redemptors? There's a big drill, and it says, yes, I can.
Yes, and you did.
I did.
And then I got killed down to 1 dreadnought by the end of the game. You took it on points. You made some really good choices for secondaries. You distracted me a lot with away from my secondaries.
Right.
So as I'm kind of positioning stuff to move around and shoot at your tanks, okay, all electro priests.
Right.
And I'm like, well, fuck, I have to turn around and take care of those guys, otherwise they're going to come and murder me.
Yeah.
And that I lost sight of the fact I had Headhunter. I lost sight of the fact I had Big Game Hunter.
Fair.
And I'm just going to survival mode there. So I think from my point, maybe some better secondary choices. This is the first time in a long time I picked like 3 kill things, which I don't usually do. I usually have like 1, maybe 2 where it's movement or positional based.
I don't think it was necessarily worst just because the breachers take so long to die, right?
Yeah.
So it took so long time to kill them. So I think it was fine.
Yeah, we'll see.
It was fine.
But yeah, it was a good game overall.
It was super brutal.
Super brutal, super fun. We got done with like 45 minutes to spare.
Hell yeah.
So we played 6 rounds of 40K. That's
pretty good.
An hour and a half, pretty
Big
much.
fast time.
Big fast time.
I thought I was dead for sure after like turn 2.
That was a really brutal first 2 turns, but you kind of you pulled it back like really well. Like Call like one-shotted Cone from
Oh, yeah.
around a corner.
That was cool.
That was brutal.
He bent the bullet.
Bent the bullet.
But the beam.
Man,
B. That's what it was. Sure.
Swings his
He
big
whipped
arm.
it.
Yeah.
He whipped it.
I gotta watch Wanted again now.
No, you don't.
I would watch Wanted if Call was the main character.
Oh,
If it was a
agreed. Agreed.
fucking Leviathan Dreadnought, like Angelina Jolie appearing from a top.
Sounds awesome.
Everything hurts and I want to die.
I am a caterpillar man.
Oh, but yeah,
Well, he is.
It was a great game. So, Danny, you were playing on the top table for first with
I was?
my first against my first round opponent, Matthew Goodwin.
I didn't even know. I'm sorry.
Tabled me hard with knights. And then tell me about your game.
So I did my movement phase, and then Matt had to go pick up his wife. So I don't know. I think I had a good shot. I did get to go first in that game, and I kind of just rolled to see where I would have been at like the end of 2, assuming that some of my stuff died, because he had to deal with some of my stuff.
Right.
And I did pretty good, I think. I think I would have done pretty good in that game. Like Mortarion would have died on turn 2 or so, or maybe turn 3.
Yeah.
But I would have gotten at least 2 Lord Discordants into his lines, and that would have really destroyed some stuff.
Yeah, if the disc rollers get there, then I think this list just falls apart. It really depends on if he can kill like a 1 or 2 or Mortimer turn 1.
Sure.
If he can do that, then I think he has a pretty good shot. But like if you just slingshot one into it and says, hey, fuck off and die.
So he had one knight that was kind of in a corner that was like blocked by ruins, and then some barrels and crates. Right. So I put a Lord Discordant like in between the ruins. So the only way he can get through that is through a Lord Discordant in cover.
Right.
After it wipes out a squad, and it's also got he can't get out of the -1 to hit aura either.
Gotcha.
So that guy's probably not. He's probably pretty boned.
Yeah, he's dead for sure.
So
the thermal cannon is pretty rough against your list actually too, because it just eats through those saves.
It can, yeah. It depends how good I am on those the
5-ups.
5-ups, yeah. And that Lord Discordant would have had a 5-up Feel No Pain as well.
Oh, sure.
And so he would have probably been okay.
That's fair.
I think.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. I mean, who knows?
Yeah. We can just say it would have happened because, you technically got 36 points.
That'd be fine.
Yeah.
So you pay one of those points and everything you say is right.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, cool.
You paid off the judge. Yeah. We're Nova in this shit up.
John,
here.
you can have I should have given you all my CP after
I needed it. Jesus. That's the thing. I love my list. I need more CP. I need more CP all the time. Oh, beautiful. Hey, well, I think we're going to wrap this up here.
It's been a fun day.
It's been a fun day.
For sure.
Let us know what you think of this format. It's very choppy. There's no smooth transitions in between any of the interviews.
There shouldn't be.
This episode of this podcast was recorded over 9 hours.
Yep.
Nice. So it was sort of nice kind of getting it fresh and during the time. It's a little shorter than usual, but like I said, I'm jetting out this week.
Oh yeah.
So we're kind of squeezing this in as a
John
special.
gone. And then this week, this upcoming weekend here, we'll be doing Battlezone Ursa, which is our local GT. So this was kind of our practice tournament for our team, which was great to get a good practice day in.
You did fabulously, Taylor.
Thank you. You did too.
Yeah.
It was a really good game. For
1 and 2. I did great.
Yeah.
Thanks, asshole. Okay.
I was talking about how much fun I had playing you.
Well, it's always a blast because we always like really shit talk each other hard.
Yeah.
But then I just broke your spirit after one turn of shooting, and the shit talking stopped right away.
Stopped immediately. 'Cause I was like, oh man, I have to use my fucking brain now. This is the worst.
Big brain time.
I hate my
And man,
stupid brain.
did he big brain time and got a brilliant victory out of it there. But yeah, super cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, so for Mob Rules, I've been John.
I've been Danny.
I've been Taylor.
And Dave went home.
Dave's dead.